Have you seen this man before? Oh, this man. Man, 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 man. Well, that's Louis Mumford. He's probably the foremost urban historian of our era. He is the author of numerous articles and over 30 books, including The Culture of Cities, Sketches from Life, and The Ecological Basis of Planning. He was born on October 19, 1895, in Flushing, Queens, New York. Of the many things he does, he's known to be an author, a historian, and also a writer. His work was influenced by the work of Scottish theorist Sir Patrick Geddes, and worked closely with his associate, the British sociologist Victor Branford. He studied at the City College of New York, but became ill with tuberculosis, and unfortunately never finished his degree. He died peacefully at the age of 94 at his home in Amenia, New York, on January 26, 1990. So now we're going to talk about his book. What is the city in history? In this book, Mumford tries to tell us that a world should be not where technology reigns, but rather somewhere where it achieves balance with nature. Mumford saw the urban experience as an integral component in the development of human culture and the human personality. He consistently argued that the physical design of cities and their economic functions were secondary to their relationship to the natural environment and to the spiritual values of the human community. And what is a city? Mumford lays out his fundamental propositions about city planning and the human potential, both individual and social. In one of the chapters in the book, he writes that the city is above all things a theater. And as if commenting on the cultural conformity of the 1950s, warned that an urban civilization that has lost its sense of dramatic dialogue is bound to have a fatal last act. So Mumford has influenced the modern urban planning community in a very big way. His urban drama idea clearly resonates with an entire line of urban cultural analysts. So one of them is Jane Jacobs, for example. She talks about street ballet. William White says that a good urban plaza should function like a stage. Another one is urging planners to fulfill human needs. So the city, they write, has always been a place of excitement. It is a theater, a stage upon which citizens can display themselves and be seen by others. A very civilian type of city. The city came as a definite emergent in the Paleo-Neolithic community, an emergent in the definite sense that Lloyd Morgan and William Morton Wheeler used that concept. On the new plane, the old components of the village were carried along and incorporated in the new urban unit, but through the action of new factors, they were recomposed in a more complex and unstable pattern than that of the village, yet in a fashion that promoted further transformations and developments. The human composition of the new unit likewise became more complex. In addition to the hunter, the peasant, and the shepherd, other primitive types entered the city and made their contribution to its existence. The miner, the woodman, the fisherman, each bringing with him the tools and skills and habits of life formed from everything they do, every single day. The engineer, though, the boatman, and the sailor emerged from this more generalized primitive background. At one point in the valley section, from all the types, still other occupation groups developed. The soldier, the banker, the merchant, the priest. Out of this complexity, the city created a higher unit. The city affected a mobilization of manpower a command over long-distance transportation, an intensification of communication over long distances in space and time, an outburst of invention along with a large-scale development of civil engineering. It also promoted a tremendous further rise in agricultural productivity. The expansion of human energies, the enlargement of the human ego, perhaps for the first time detached from its immediate communal envelope, the differentiation of common human activities into specialized vocations, and the expression of this expansion at many points in the structure of the city were all aspects of a single transformation, which was the rise of civilization. As we've seen, the formative stages of this process possibly took many thousands of years. Even the last steps in the transition from the Neolithic country town, little more than an overgrown village, to the fully blown city, the home of new institutional forms, may have taken centuries, even a millennia. So long that many institutions that we have definite historic record of in other parts of the world may have had time both to flourish and to be largely cut down. There is nevertheless one outstanding difference between the first urban epoch and our own. Ours is an age of a multitude of socially undirected technical advances, divorced from any other ends than the advancement of science and technology. We live, in fact, in an exploding universe of mechanical and electronical invention, whose parts are moving at a rapid pace, even further and further away from their human center. Just the opposite happened with the first great expansion of civilization. Instead of an explosion of power, there was rather an implosion. The implosion happened at the very moment that the area of intercourse was greatly enlarged through raidings and tradings, through seizures and commandeerings, through migrations and enslavements, through tax gatherings and the wholesale conscription of labor. In the urban implosion, the king stands at the center. He is the polar magnet that draws to the heart of the city and brings under the control of the palace and temple all the new forces of civilization. Sometimes the king founded new cities. Sometimes he transformed them. But in other times, the people are the ones that do.